Ever get that feeling there's more to us, more to the world maybe than what we just, see?
Yeah, like a kind of hidden hum, a subtle energy just sort of
Yeah.
there.
Exactly. If that idea sparks anything in you, well, you're definitely in the right place today.
Because today we're really plunging into a concept that explores exactly that, qi. Sometimes you see it spelled QI,
Right.
qi.
It's a huge idea, really. A cornerstone in a lot of Eastern philosophies, and people have been talking about it, working with it for centuries.
And we've got a pretty fascinating stack of sources here to help us unpack it all.
Mm-hmm.
First up, there's How to Be a Master of Qi. This one gives a really broad look, doesn't it?
Look up.
Covers Qi from like healing and self-defense to, well, let's just say some very interesting ideas about bending elements.
Yeah, that one definitely goes places.
Mm.
Then we have the Way of Energy, mastering the Chinese art of internal strength with Qigong exercise.
Okay.
And this one really digs deep into Qigong, and especially this practice called Zanzhuang.
Zanzhuang, that's the standing like a tree thing. That's the one. Standing like a tree. It's all about building up and directing this energy, mainly for, health and well-being.
Got it. And the third one,
The third is What is Qi? This one's maybe a bit more theoretical, gives us some background, looks at qi and health, martial arts, spiritual growth, and it also tackles some common misunderstanding.
okay, so a good mix. We've got the broad overview, the deep practice dive, and the theoretical background.
Exactly.
So our mission today, then, is to take all these different perspectives on Qi, try to figure out the core ideas. What is it? What's it supposed to do?
Right. And explore some of the ways people actually try to cultivate it.
Yeah, and see if we can make sense of any places where the sources maybe disagree or just have a different focus.
We want to give you a clear, kind of grounded understanding of qi, hopefully without getting too lost in the really mystical stuff.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, let's dive in then. What exactly is Qi, based on what these sources are telling us?
Well, what's really interesting is that right across the board, all three sources basically agree that qi is some kind of fundamental energy.
Okay, fundamental energy.
Yeah. How to Be a Master of Qi calls it a universal energy, the actual essence of living things. And it really emphasizes that it's dynamic, it flows.
Both those.
In these channels they call meridians, think of them like invisible pathways, rivers carrying this energy through the body.
Okay, like an energy circulatory system.
Sort of, yeah. And it gathers in certain spots like pools. It makes a really key distinction, too, between this active flowing qi in living things and what it calls stagnant energy in non-living things.
Okay. Living versus non-living.
Right. And it also mentions that some religions basically see qi as a person's essence. The big takeaway here is seeing the body not just as like a machine, but as this energetic system you can actually influence.
That idea of flow really seems central. The Way of Energy picks up on that too,
Yeah.
right? It talks
Yeah.
about our bodies being full of this energy, but blocked.
Exactly. It suggests it often gets blocked up as we go through life. And this practice, Zanzhuang, standing like a tree, is presented specifically as a way to first build up the energy and then release that dormant flow.
So Zanzhuang is about unblocking the pipes, so to speak.
Pretty much. Building on that idea of flowing energy, it's a method to get rid of the blockages and really boost the flow all through stillness, interestingly enough.
Stillness. Okay.
And they draw this really interesting parallel. They liken this body energy to like breathing, blood circulation, these fundamental rhythms, and they even connect it to the electromagnetic energy of the universe. So it's not just some vague idea, they're tying it to our actual physical bodies and the world.
Wow, so it's both internal and connected externally.
Precisely. And what is qi? Really hammers this home. It says flat out that the whole foundation of qigong practice is the existence of qi. Can't do it without qi.
Makes sense.
And it goes further, saying that practitioners can actually feel it circulating. They even have names for these feelings.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like passing through the small heavenly circle that's around the torso and the large heavenly circle, which is the whole body.
Heavenly circles.
Yeah, and the source suggests that feeling this circulation strongly is a good sign, an indicator of improving health.
Okay, so we're getting this picture. Qi is vital. It flows. It's key for life, health, well-being, and you can feel it. Which leads to the next big question. Where does it actually come from, this qi?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one, and the sources have slightly different angles on it.
Okay.
How to Be a Master of Qi brings up the Taoist idea that our basic primary energy comes from our parents, our inheritance, basically.
Right, makes sense. Nature and nurture.
But then it also throws in this well, more unconventional idea about dust. Yeah, dust from exploded stars being essential for soil formation, which kind of hints at this bigger cosmic connection for our energy. Indirectly, maybe?
Stardust energy.
Thank you.
Here it is.
It is. But it also points out that in Qigong, you're taught to consciously draw qi into your body through breathing, using your breath to bring it in.
Okay, so parents, stardust, breath, quite a range.
Definitely. The way of energy has a more, I don't know, straightforward, almost poetic take. It talks about newborns just bursting with life, full of energy.
Yeah, babies have boundless energy.
Right. But then it suggests that as we age, we kind of get depleted, run down.
The aging process.
And the whole point of Zhuang, in their view, is to actually try and reverse that decay, to get back some of that original vitality.
Reverse aging. That's a bold claim.
Well, maybe not literally reverse aging, but reverse the energy depletion associated with it. And then what is qi adds another piece. It talks about original natal qi or prenatal qi.
Natal qi, like from birth.
Yeah, especially in Tai Chi context. It suggests this is a foundational energy we're born with, and they connect it to the kidney system in the traditional Chinese medicine sense.
Kidneys again, okay.
So you see this pattern. There's this idea of some kind of inherited, innate energy.
Right, the stuff you start with.
Exactly. But also, crucially, the potential to cultivate more, to replenish it, through things like breathing and specific practices.
So it's not just what you're given, it's what you do with it.
Precisely. Even with the different origin stories, the common thread is this idea of a base energy that's both innate and cultivable, a mix of what you've got and what you can build.
Okay, I think I'm getting a handle on the what and the where from now.
Yeah.
The big one, the practical bit.
Yeah.
How do you actually work with this stuff? How do you cultivate qi and, use it?
Right. This is where it gets really hands-on. And yeah, our sources are packed with different techniques, loads of them.
Let's start with how to be a master of qi. That one sounded like it had a lot.
It does. It starts pretty simply, actually. Just feeling for an energy sensation between your palms, almost like a magnetic feeling.
Okay, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it suggests that's a basic way to start perceiving the energy. Then it talks a lot about focusing your awareness, your mind, on the dantian.
Dantian. That's the spot below the navel.
That's the one, about 2 inches below. It's seen as this really key spot, a central gathering place for qi, and also the body's center of gravity.
And it has different names, too.
Oh, it does, yeah. Kwahai in acupuncture, Tanjun in Korean, Hara in Japanese, all pointing to that same crucial area.
Hara. I've heard that in martial arts contexts.
Exactly. And the source even mentions martial artists doing those yells, the kaiai. It suggests that's a way of releasing qi.
Huh. Interesting. What else?
Well, breathing exercises in Qigong, consciously bringing qi in, like we mentioned before, and then it gets into these energy ball exercises.
Energy balls. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it describes. Things like mentally shunting energy around, adding your own energy to this imaginary ball, trying to move it with your will, even testing it on other people or pets.
Okay, that's starting to sound a bit
Again,
out there.
It definitely pushes the boundaries.
Oh.
And then it goes even further into what it calls bending techniques. Air bending, water movement, earth bending, even fire bending.
Like Avatar.
Kind of sounds like it, doesn't it? It describes things like air meditation, where you imagine air as liquid, fusing your qi with air, creating gusts of wind, air purification shields.
Wow. All right. And water, earth, fire.
Similar stuff, radiating qi onto water to make it move, beginner lifts, creating air bubbles. For earth, things like blocks, gauntlets, quicksand, rock slides. For fire, fireballs, fire streams, controlled heat.
Okay, so this source presents a very wide spectrum, from internal focus right through to, well, elemental manipulation, seemingly.
It really does. What's fascinating about these, let's call them more energetic or maybe imaginative practices, is how they show the sheer range of ways people interpret and try to apply this concept of qi. Sometimes, yeah, moving way beyond what we'd think of as conventional.
Definitely. Okay, let's switch gears to the way of energy. That sounds like it might be a bit more grounded.
Much more grounded, yes. It focuses almost entirely on Zhuang, standing like a tree.
Right.
And the big emphasis here is on stillness. Stillness on the outside allows for internal growth, internal change.
And breathing is key here, too.
Hugely important. They talk about natural belly breathing, the way babies breathe, versus the shallower chest breathing most adults fall into. They really advocate getting back to that deep lower abdomen breath.
So it's about posture and breath.
Posture, breath, and relaxation. They give warm-up exercises, detail the basic stance, the Wu Qi position, feet shoulder width, body relaxed. Then they introduce the next position, holding the balloon.
Holding the balloon, okay.
The focus is really on cultivating this deep sense of relaxation and body awareness. They talk about Tan Tien, breathing again, focusing the breath low, and stressing how important the exhale is for letting go, for relaxing.
And visualization.
Yeah, they suggest visualization techniques to help quiet the mind during the practice. Things like imagining you're sitting on a big balloon or standing on soft cotton wool just aids to help you relax and stay present.
Does it talk about what you might feel during this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It lists potential sensations, warmth, maybe tingling, increased digestive sounds, a general feeling of comfort and relaxation, but also possibly numbness, aching, even shaking.
Shaking. Is that bad?
Not necessarily, according to the source. It's often seen as energy moving or blockages releasing. They also mention that feeling things asymmetrically, different sensations on the left versus the right side, is pretty common and usually nothing to worry about.
Okay. And it mentioned other exercises too, Baoduan Jin.
Yes, the Baoduan Jin, or 8 pieces of brocade, it goes into quite a bit of detail on these. Each one is a specific set of movements designed to benefit different organs or systems.
Like what? Give me an example.
Sure. There's holding up a single hand, which they say is good for the spleen and stomach. Looking back like a cow is meant to benefit the nervous system, kidneys, and eyes. Drawing a bow targets the lungs.
Interesting how specific they are, tying movements directly to organs.
Absolutely. It really reflects this holistic view of the body as an interconnected energetic system. These exercises, varied as they are, all use specific movements coordinated with breath to target different areas and promote overall balance.
What else does the way of energy cover?
It gets into more advanced Zanzhuang positions, like holding the balloon up higher in front of the face, weight shifting exercises, mental exercises using imagery, ways to still the mind, even connecting with nature's energy, especially trees.
Connecting with trees.
Yeah, standing near them, feeling a connection. But what's really significant, I think, is how practical they are about integrating it.
Integrating it how?
Bringing this energy awareness and practice into everyday life while you're sitting, standing, working, on the phone, taking breaks, even commuting or gardening or lifting things.
So it's not just something you do for 20 minutes and forget.
Exactly. The idea is to make it part of your ongoing awareness. They even talk about adapting the practice for different life stages, kids, middle age, older age, and using specific Zanzhuang postures for common ailments like indigestion, hangovers, insomnia, even minor pain or cuts.
Wow, very comprehensive on that one practice. Okay, what about our third source? What is Qi? How does it approach cultivation and use?
It also covers a lot, but maybe with a slightly different focus, often bringing in Tai Chi and some Buddhist perspectives.
Okay.
It talks about Wuji, that state of absolute quiet, complete stillness, as being both the origin and the goal or return point of Tai Chi. It highlights rotating the Dantian in Tai Chi to stimulate the Ming Men.
Ming Men, that was a gate of life.
That's the one. And it discusses the silk reeling movements in Tai Chi, these smooth, spiraling motions, as a way to open up the joints for better Qi circulation.
So movement is key in Tai Chi for Qi flow.
Definitely. And it looks at breathing across different martial arts, contrasting things like natural abdominal breathing with more forceful or specialized techniques. But it stresses that Tai Chi emphasizes natural, soft breathing that's coordinated with your movements.
What about other practices?
It delves into Neidan, which translates roughly as internal elixir or internal alchemy. These are breathing exercises aimed at health and longevity, supposedly creating a kind of non-physical pill inside the body.
Internal pill.
Metaphorically speaking, yeah. It involves circulating energy through those small and large heavenly circles we mentioned earlier. It also touches on Buddhist esoteric exercises using stillness postures and mudras.
Mudras, the hand positions.
Exactly, those symbolic hand gestures. And it mentions chanting.
Chanting. How does that relate to Qi?
The idea is that using certain mantras like Om Mani Padme Hum or Namo Amitabha Buddha can help open up energy channels and create a connection with universal energy.
Okay. And healing sounds.
Yeah, similar idea. The 6 sacred sounds, or 6 healing sounds, each sound is linked to a specific organ and even a season used to promote balance and healing in that organ.
Lots of different avenues here.
There really are. It even mentions hard-style Qigong.
Hard style, what's that?
That's more focused on developing physical endurance and power. Think of those demonstrations where people break bricks or bend spears against their throat. That's often associated with hard Qigong.
Right, I've seen that kind of thing.
And it introduces a very specific concept called PAL, or point accuracy level, in internal martial arts.
PAL.
Yeah, point accuracy level. It's all about achieving incredibly precise body alignment to make sure qi can flow optimally through specific energy points. It even lists some of these points like Qimen, Bai Hui, Lao Gong, very detailed stuff.
So alignment is crucial for flow in internal martial arts.
Absolutely critical, according to the source. It really emphasizes foundational principles. Qi needs to circulate, it needs to pass through, penetrate. The body needs to be relaxed, but unified and stable. Courage is mentioned too.
And it gives a framework for development.
It does. It outlines the three-level theory often used in internal martial arts. Jing, which is related to essence or hormones. Qi, the energy itself. And Shen, which relates to spirit or mental state. It's a progression.
Jin, Qi, Shin.
Okay. And it even mentions a 10-level curriculum specifically for Tai Chi, outlining how practitioners might progress.
Wow. Okay, so across the sources, we have everything from feeling energy between your hands to standing still to complex movements, breathing patterns, sounds, visualizations, and even, well, bending elements in one case.
It's a huge landscape, which naturally brings up the possibility of getting things wrong, right?
Yeah, with so many approaches, seems like you could easily go off track. What is Qi? Talk about that.
It does, quite explicitly. It has a whole section on common mistakes people make when practicing Qigong.
Oh, that's useful. What kind of mistakes?
Well, first, having the wrong goals, like having fantasy expectations about developing superpowers or something.
Oh, okay. Managing expectations.
Exactly. Then, misinterpreting the style, focusing too much on just copying the outer movements instead of cultivating the internal feeling and focus, which is the whole point of internal arts.
Right. Form versus substance.
Yeah. Another one is losing direction and not following a proper step-by-step process. It emphasizes you really need to cultivate the qi first, build it up, before you try to actively direct it or use it for, say, mental awareness. Don't run before you can walk.
That makes sense. What else?
Forced breathing, trying too hard with the breath instead of letting it be natural and relaxed. Relaxation is just key, over and over again.
Okay. Don't force it.
Right. Then there's illusion confusion, getting mixed up between what might be a real qi sensation and what's just your imagination running wild.
This seems like a tricky one to navigate.
Definitely. Also, trying to understand these internal concepts using purely external, mechanical, or Western scientific frameworks can lead you astray. They operate on different principles.
Using the wrong map for the territory.
Good way to put it. Then there's overenthusiasm, trying too hard, too fast, and actually depleting your energy, your precious qi, instead of building it. And conversely, simply not practicing enough. Consistency is vital.
Lack of practice. Yeah, that'll trip you up in anything.
True. Other mistakes include not being able to apply the principles or benefits of Qigong to your actual daily life, making it just an isolated activity. Relying on external aids or gadgets, these false qi strengtheners.
Ah. Looking for shortcuts.
Pretty much. Using the practice as a form of escapism, avoiding reality instead of engaging with it more fully. And finally, treating Qigong like a religion, which can distort its practical nature and lead to dogma.
Wow, that's a really valuable list of warnings. Helps keep things grounded.
It really does. It helps balance out some of the more extraordinary claims or possibilities and focuses on the practicalities and potential pitfalls.
You mentioned what is Qi. Also includes some personal experiences.
It does, yeah. Which helps bring it back down to earth in a way. Gives a sense of what practicing this stuff might actually look like for individuals.
Like what?
Well, there's an interview snippet with a grandmaster, Chen Quansong. He talks about relaxation in Tai Chi and about Fai
Fajing, that explosive power thing.
Yeah, that sudden release of focused power, often seen as a result of really well-cultivated and directed qi. He emphasizes relaxation as the key to it.
Okay, what else?
There's a practice journal from someone named James Dees. He details his own journey, his progression cultivating qi using wuji, the 8-piece brocade, another practice called red palm qigong. And he describes feeling warmth, sensations related to his organs, real tangible feelings.
So direct personal experience of the sensations we talked about.
Exactly. And then there's a recovery journal from Mr. Thomas Mullen. This one's quite compelling.
How so?
He talks about suffering from arthritis, apparently induced by medication, and how doing qi exercises taught by his teacher, a Master Yan, brought him significant relief and improved his circulation.
Relief from arthritis through qi exercise.
That's what he describes. So these personal stories They aren't double-blind clinical
Right,
trials.
they're anecdotes.
They're anecdotes, exactly. But they do provide a powerful illustration of the kind of impact and benefits that individuals report experiencing from working with qi, according to the
It
source.
definitely adds a human dimension to all the theory and techniques. So, stepping back from all these details, these different sources,
hmm
what really stands out to you? What's the connecting thread?
For me, I think it's that persistent core idea of qi as this fundamental life force. Even though the explanations vary, the techniques range from simple stillness to, well, complex visualizations. That central concept is always there.
Yeah, this underlying energy.
Exactly. And yeah, those personal accounts, while anecdotal, like you said, they are really intriguing. They hint that for many people, this isn't just abstract philosophy. It has a real felt impact on their health and their experience of being alive.
If we try to connect this to the bigger picture,
Hmm.
what we're looking at is this ancient concept, really, that's resonated across different cultures, different times,
Mm-hmm.
and generated all these diverse practices,
Mm-hmm.
all designed in their own way to tap into this energy for health, for personal growth, sometimes even for martial arts.
It's a rich and complex tradition, no doubt about it.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up, bring it home for everyone listening. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive into Qi?
Well, I think the core idea is definitely qi as this vital energy. It flows, it's connected to our health, our vitality. That comes through loud and clear.
Right, and there are specific ways to work with it.
Yes, practices like qigong, tai chi, and zhuang, that standing practice, got a lot of emphasis in one source as a key method. These usually involve some combination of posture, specific breathing techniques, and importantly, mental focus or awareness.
And the importance of doing it right seems crucial too.
Absolutely. Understanding the principles, being consistent with practice, and really being aware of those common mistakes we listed, like forcing things or having unrealistic expectations, that all seems vital for getting actual benefits.
Okay, and the intriguing element.
I think it has to be those personal experiences, right? People reporting tangible feelings, warmth, tingling, flow, and concrete benefits like better circulation, pain relief, even maybe a sense of protection in some interpretations.
Yeah, even if we view them through a skeptical lens, scientifically speaking.
Right. Even acknowledging their anecdotal within that Western framework, they clearly show the profound subjective impact these practices can have, as described in the sources themselves. It means something significant to the people experiencing it.
Which leads us to that final provocative thought, maybe. If our bodies are, as these ancient traditions suggest, these intricate networks of energy,
hmm
what else might we be capable of? What other potentials are just lying dormant within us?
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could really understanding and working with this chi offer a completely different way of looking at our own capabilities, physical and mental?
Yeah, could it challenge our standard, maybe more mechanical view of the human body and how we connect to the world?
It's a big question. Certainly gives you something to think about.
So for you listening, maybe just take a moment to consider your own energy levels. How do you feel day to day?
Yeah, and perhaps exploring something simple, like just paying more attention to your breath or trying some gentle, mindful movement. Maybe that could offer some new insights for you personally.
And if you were curious to go deeper, to explore Qigong or Tai Chi more formally,
Then definitely, as we've heard, seek out reputable, qualified teachers and good resources. And always keep in mind that need for a clear, grounded approach. Avoid the hype, focus on the practice.
sound advice. Find a good guy, be patient, and see what unfolds.